Picture a high-speed bullet train slashing past a 16th-century stone fortress in a city that now holds 22 million residents. Over the last 2 decades, the local GDP climbed steadily, hitting $609 billion by 2024. But to understand how a massive, hyper-speed 21st-century economy actually functions, we have to look at its original floor plan. For most of its history, this place was designed as a rigid, silent imperial cosmogram, a physical map of the heavens. The layout we see today didn't grow by accident. The sheer scale of its modern power relies on a geometric logic laid down 700 years ago. Looking at this 3D map of the old city, you can see a perfectly straight 7.8-kilometer invisible line cutting right through the center. This is the Zhangzhou, or the central axis. The entire city obeys this axis. It was built on the traditional Chinese philosophy of Zhang, meaning centrality and harmony. Right in the middle sits the Forbidden City, an expanse of golden roofs mirrored perfectly on either side. Urban planners positioned the bell and drum towers, along with massive southern gates and altars, precisely along this north-south meridian. They designed it as a cosmic diagram to maintain a perceived harmony with the gods. That axis survived centuries of dynasties, fires, and political revolutions. It remains the living urban skeleton of imperial palaces, and the strict symmetry gives way to the citizens' Beijing. These are the hutongs, dense webs of narrow brick alleyways where the actual population lived and worked. The environment here is unforgiving. Surrounded by mountains to the north and open plains to the south, the city endures freezing, dry winters. That climate forced the locals to rely heavily on hardy, wheat-based crops rather than the delicate rice dishes found in southern China. To survive the cold, residents developed rich, calorie-dense foods. Charcoal-fired copper hot pots became a winter staple, while dishes like Peking roast duck made the leap from imperial banquet tables down to bustling historic commercial streets like Dashilan. While the central axis gave the capital its rigid structure, the hutongs provided its cultural soul and the practical means to survive the bitter winters. As the population swelled, the city had to grow. This map tracks the physical explosion of the capital. Instead of a grid, the infrastructure expanded outward in massive concentric circles, the famous ring roads, rippling away from the ancient center. To move 22 million people across those rings, engineers built the longest rapid transit subway system in the world by route length. High-tech stations now run directly underneath the old imperial gates. Between the 2008 summer and 2022 winter games, developers took massive industrial ruins, like the cooling towers at Shaogong Park, and transformed them into permanent ramps for winter sports. That aggressive adaptive reuse made this the world's first dual Olympic city. Out in the eastern rings, the architecture breaks away from the ancient height restrictions entirely. The central business district pushes straight into the sky, dominated by the 528-meter China Zun Tower. Structures like the CCTV headquarters intentionally defy the old horizontal layout. Its angular, gravity-defying loop abandons traditional symmetry in favor of bold geometry. The ring roads were the ultimate 20th century strategy, taking the ancient geometric center and scaling it up to accommodate a massive global population. On the far southern periphery sits the city's newest gate, Daxing International Airport. Its sweeping, star-shaped terminal is a masterpiece of organic, fluid architecture. A resident today navigates a hyper-fast, 24/7 digital payment and tech ecosystem. Yet, after participating in that glowing digital economy, they can still walk home to a 700-year-old courtyard to watch the sunset. Beijing. It translates directly to Northern Capital. The capital proves that a megacity can wrap itself in a technological skin without erasing its ancient blueprint. It remains a place where a rigid ideal of the past serves as the physical foundation for the innovation of the future.